We're at the South Branch of the Potomac now. Colonel Campbell initially positioned Captain John Sutter's Company A and Captain John Hite's Company B here at the South Branch of the Potomac to guard a 3-span Finks suspension bridge across the river. Additionally, Colonel Campbell assigned Major Linton here and put him in command of the companies up to Rockwell's Run. The area stayed relatively quiet while the 54th Pennsylvania guarded the railroad, and Colonel Campbell eventually moved Company B to Paw Paw. Following the success of General Jackson's 1862 Valley Campaign, the entire 54th Pennsylvania consolidated here around the South Branch Bridge, a massive iron bridge spanning the Potomac and the only bridge left standing after the Confederates withdrew from the area earlier in the year. Corporal Jonas Kaufman wrote, "We received marching orders and things looked squally. The entire regiment was concentrated at South Branch expecting an attack. About 4 p.m., our pickets gave an alarm, when the regiment was formed in line and remained so for half an hour. Private Augustus Barr added, the pickets began to fire, and then we were all called into a line of battle. Then we waited to see the enemy approach, and they came not. Bushwhackers had fired on a portion of the regiment, but not being able to determine their location, Colonel Campbell dismissed the men and allowed them to go to their quarters. Corporal Kaufman continued, in getting out, we pulled down our tents and slept in the rain for the balance of the night. The men remained tense as the regiment stayed on high alert for the next few days." Company A returned to the South Branch Bridge in January of 1864. During their absence, the B&O constructed blockhouses at key locations, including here at South Branch. Historian Daniel Carroll Toomey described the blockhouses in his book, The War Came by Train, small 2-story forts, complete with fighting positions on both levels. In addition to the fighting positions, each blockhouse contained a storage room, facilities for feeding the men, barracks, and officers' quarters, enabling the men inside to hold off a regiment of cavalry for days, if need be, as long as they had a sufficient supply of ammunition and the attacking force did not have any artillery, which was usually the case. B&O Railroad officials took the defense of their line a step farther and started to construct railroad monitor cars. Inspired by the naval ironclads in the Union fleet, Lieutenant John Rogers Meigs advised Major General Robert Schenck to construct armed railroad cars. Toomey described the cars with plates of iron T-rails placed on a flat car at 45-degree angle to form a protective casemate, similar to that of a warship. At each end of the car were openings that allowed the cannon, usually a mountain howitzer or a 6-pound field piece, to be fired in 3 different directions. Small loopholes ran along the length of the car so that infantrymen assigned to defend the gun crew could fire their weapon without exposing their bodies. Soldiers entered and exited the car through a trap door in the floor. Lieutenant Meigs did not stop with the monitor cars. The B&O shops also built armored rifle cars. Toomey described them as simply box cars lined with rail or boilerplate to make them bulletproof. Again, loopholes would supply safe firing positions for the soldiers inside. Meigs planned to couple 1 rifle car to 1 cannon car in order to drive the marauding Confederates away from the tracks and protect the work crews as they repaired the damage. The men of Captain Sutter's Company A found one of the B&O's armored cars at the South Branch Bridge when they came back in 1864 as well. Thank you for watching this episode of In the Footsteps of the 54th.